As a driver, whenever you are asked, are you a good driver? The answer is always, I have been driving for so and so number of years. Some older drivers say even long before you were born. But is that really the answer to the question? Does the duration reflect the ability? What does it mean to be a good driver? Is it about how long you've been driving? I doubt that. And there are ways to find out if you're actually a good driver. Welcome to Road Matters. I am Fatima Umar. Stay tuned.
Everyone thinks they are good at driving, or at least no one admits they are bad drivers for obvious reasons. We all like to think we follow the rules and make no mistakes. Some might even brag about it on how well one drives. Road Matters got an array of personal opinions.
Very, very good driver, of course. Been driving almost, I can say, 32 or 33 years. I started driving at the age of 13 years and was very, very young boy.
To the last extent I am. What makes me a good driver is that I always see anybody as a learner. I'm the perfect driver. So I always become careful when I'm driving. I always look before I left. It is very, very unfortunate that today people were just given a driving license without passing through a driving school. Those days we are subjected into driving school. You must go to driving school and pass driving school with the professional monitoring you and issue you with the certificate before you could go outside and start driving. But today, hey, anybody that get money either by bicycle or motorcycle or by car, he or she will just go and say, okay, I bought my car, this is my car, so come and teach me how to drive. And you start driving. And unfortunately, some people now, even the learning sign, the L, to indicate that you are a learner, that people are signing. You know, Nigeria, we like being a big man, big man level. So instead of even putting a learner so that people can be conscious when driving, because when you see a learner, automatically has a license. It is left for you to know how to navigate or to follow him gently and quietly. By the time you hit him by law, you are at fault because he indicates that he's a learner. And if you are a private driver, you navigate and go. But in these days now, people just go and put it. Instead of putting a learner, they will say, no, I don't want shame. I don't want them to say I'm learning. So that is why if there is any distraction now, they will run into people and start killing people.
So since I started my driving, anybody I work with, nobody complain about my driving. So I think that will make me a good driver because everybody loves me because I'm driving well.
I've been driving for about 40 years. Good driver is not a driver that you speed, then they will know that you are a good driver. No. A good driver is somebody who observes, who drives safely. That is a good driver.
I drive carefully and I don't speed. I take my time. I don't speed. If it is a journey of 3 hours, I make sure I make it that 3 hours, I will more than 3 hours. I don't speed. And I arrive at my destination. And I've been driving the last 20 years. And I thank God, not my up till now, no issue on the road.
This is not quite true. We make mistakes and sometimes we are not the best drivers.
You see, it is not how long you have been driving that makes you a good driver. Even though experience is very important in every skill that you practice. But the knowledge and the skills you acquire is what really matters, not the length of years you have been driving. You see, when you approach somebody and say, are you a good driver? The normal question, the normal answer you will get is that, yes, I'm a good driver. I've been driving for long and I've not been involved in accidents. Some have not been involved in accidents, not because they were good drivers, but because they have been fortunate not to get themselves involved in a critical situation. Most of the people that were involved in accidents, they were people who already had long years of experience, not learners. In my village, there's an adage that says, vehicles does not kill bushmen. Because when somebody from the village wants to cross the road, he will look at the road almost 10 times. And by the time he thinks that it's safe for him to cross, he will speed, he will run. A city man may be walking lackadaisically, but somebody from the village will run very well. Where the experience matters is this. What a mistake you made yesterday, the tendency is there for you to correct it today. So as you build up your experience, you'll be able to drive better. All of us started from somewhere. Over time, we built on the experience. But one thing is that if you don't have the requisite knowledge and the skills, you will have nothing upon which to build your experience, no matter how long you have been driving. But when you acquire the requisite theoretical knowledge, you have the basic practical skills, your experience now, your length of driving will now matter, will now make you a good driver or even a better driver. A good driver will always adjust his driving according to the condition of the road. Even though good roads are important, but it is not the basic determinant of whom a good driver is. For example, Abuja has the best road network in the whole country, yet Abuja has the highest rate of road traffic crashes in the whole country for the past 10 years. So it's not the nature of the road that makes somebody a good driver. It is not how good a car is that makes somebody a good driver. But one thing I used to teach people is that no matter how expensive, how comfortable a vehicle is, it is the driver that determines how safe the vehicle will be. If you have been driving the old cars and you now find yourself in a new vehicle, this latest technology, the tendency is there that that person will be more susceptible to accidents because, for example, let's look at the steering. The steering wheel is more flexible. It's very soft. If you want to tilt it the way you used to tilt the old vehicles, I'm telling you sincerely, the person will find himself in the bush in the twinkling of an eye. So you need to really master the new technology and adjust your driving according to the technology of the vehicle. Driving involves the gathering of information, interpretation of the information gathered, as well as acting on the information, that is, taking decisions on the information as interpreted. Therefore, a good driver is someone who is committed and focused on gathering information on the road, that is, gathering information about other road users, about the road environment, then interpreting the information, that is, looking at the consequences, the likely consequences of an action, the likely consequences of the perceived hazard, and then taking decisions based on the interpretation. It's not only the eyes. You use your eyes to drive, you use your ears to drive, you use your nose to drive, you use your brain to drive, you use your hands to drive, you use your legs to drive. The eyes gather information, the ears gather information, the nose gather information, the brain interprets the information, the hands control, they execute the information, the legs also execute the information. This is one of the reasons why I said driving is the most complex task, because it involves the simultaneous use of so many organs of your body almost at the same time to ensure effective and safe vehicle control. So you use virtually every organ of the body. But the brain is the one that controls most of the information. That's why we are always speaking against the use of psychoactive drugs, particularly the Indian hemp that is becoming more popular among drivers today because of the chemical inside that Indian hemp, particularly the tetrahydrocannabinol inside the Indian hemp. That's the most psychoactive chemical that affects the brain, and it will not allow the drivers to gather information. It will also hinder them from interpreting the information, as well as affect the execution of the actions. A good driver, therefore, is someone who is committed and focused on gathering information on the road and in the road environment. You gather information with your eyes. You gather information with your ears. and you gather information with your nose. A driver who is using mobile phone, for example, is not a good driver because he cannot gather information on the road. His attention is already divided. A good driver also is someone who knows and obeys the traffic laws and regulations. There are so many drivers on the road who don't even know the traffic regulations. There are some who know the traffic regulations, but they intentionally decided to disobey the regulations. Something good is coming to Nigeria right now. The Federal Road Safety Commission has just completed the final assessment computer-based test, which will commence before the end of next month. And this will compel every would-be driver to go to driving school for the basic theory and practical training. And we also sit for a computer-based test in the various driving schools, which is controlled. I mean, the test is controlled by the FRSC under the DSSP. And then it is when you pass the test that you can go to the VIO for your theory and practical test again, which should be a form of checks and balances before you can get your driver license.
A good driver should know when to take breaks, when they are losing focus, and what to do in case of an emergency. It all starts with getting behind the wheel before you start the drive. A good driver should know this.
Before you enter your vehicle every morning, or each time you want to take your vehicle out in the morning, even if it's in the afternoon you want to take your vehicle, but for the first time you want to take your vehicle out, each day before you go out, you must carry out a morning parade. And what we need to do now is to check the oil, check the water level, check the battery terminal. Here we go. We'll check the water level to ensure that it is not low. When you are through with that, you also check the washer fluid, whether it is sufficient. You can see here that the level here is okay. So from there you now check the oil, the power steering oil, to see whether it is okay. You check the radiator water, whether the level is okay. From here you can see that the level is okay. You go to the engine oil, you remove the joystick and clean it. You will not look at the level immediately. You have to clean it first. After cleaning it, you now insert it to know the level. So you bring it out again and know the level. That's the reason why you have to clean it. You check it and see whether it is low. You will see high, you will see low. This whole here stands for high. In some joysticks, you will see H written there. Then the second point here, the second hole here is the low. When you pick some joysticks, you will see that it has L there. So you can see the oil level here that is far above the low. It's close to high. So it's still very much okay. When you discover that the oil is already below this second point here, don't move the vehicle until you have increased the oil. Bring it out again to confirm that same level, to be sure. And you must do this before you start the engine. You must not start the engine before checking the oil. Before carrying out your morning parade, you must not start the engine. You must carry out your morning parade before you start the engine. After checking that one, you go to the battery terminal. You check the battery terminal whether there's any element of corrosion. You can look at it now that there's no trace of acid, no corrosion, and then you see whether it's intact, whether it's tight. You have to check that it's tight, because if it's not tight, it can cause sparking. And when the sparking continues, it can lead to electrical fault, or it can cause fire accident. You must make sure that it is tight. So after doing that, you go to the next level by checking you check the power steering oil here. It is not often time that you do that. You do that only once in a while. And somebody has to engage the engine, the gear for you before you can do that. You bring out the joystick also. When you bring out the joystick, you can also check it to know whether the level of the power steering oil is okay. It also has levels here. You have here, you have cool here, you have hot here. So you check and confirm. You check underneath because you want to know whether any oil is dropping. If you see oil on the ground, you must trace where the oil is coming from. Is it from the brake hose? Is it from the power steering hose? And then you check whether there's any drop of water on the ground. If there's any drop of water on the ground, you check the radiator water. Is it the radiator water that is dropping? Is it the wiper water that is dropping? You have to check and confirm. Those are the things you must carry, because sometimes when you park your car in the night, by the time you wake up in the morning, if anything happened that resulted to a leakage of oil, you may not know. And when you drive, the engine can knock. And then there are some people that live in houses where there are rats. When you park your vehicle in the evening, rats can take over from that moment, and they can damage your hose at any time, and so there could be leakage. This tire was manufactured in the 23rd week of the year 2018. When you add 4 years to it, which is the years recommended for the use of tires, it will amount to 2022. So this tire now will expire in the year 2022, that is the 23rd week of 2022. So this tire is still very much okay. Unlike this tire that was manufactured in the year 2009, when you add 4 years to it, it will become 2013, meaning that this tire expired about 7 years ago. It is a security, it is a safety risk already. It is dangerous. It is an accident waiting to happen. The tire can burst anywhere from now. And if the tire should be used to travel, the moment it gets hot, it will surely burst. And that will be a serious accident. So this tire has expired 7 years ago. It is an accident in the waiting. Whoever is driving the car is on a suicide mission, because the tire can burst any moment, anytime. Completing your morning parade, you have to check underneath the vehicle to be sure that there's no object under the vehicle. Last night when you park your vehicle, between last night and this morning, maybe a goat is already under your vehicle, or maybe a dog is under your vehicle, or even a human being could be there. We have had cases of people that enter into their vehicle. In the process of moving, they crushed a little baby. I've heard of 2 cases like that, one at Oshodi, and then one in Abuja. He was under the car, he was just playing, and the man did not check underneath. He just entered the vehicle and zoomed. The one that happened at Oshodi, it was even his son. When he wanted to enter the vehicle, he didn't know that the small baby, about 2 years old, was following him. And as he was following him, now that baby did not follow him to the front. He just stood at the back of the vehicle. He just reversed and crushed the boy. Sometimes people used to drop bottles, can in the pedal compartment mistakenly. If anything like that is there and you are moving, because of your movement, if any of the bottles or can should roll and stand under your brake pedal, by the time you want to press your brake pedal, that can or bottle will hinder the pedal from going down, and so you will not be able to stop the vehicle at the time you're supposed to stop it, and that can result to accident. So before you sit down in your car, you must make sure you check the pedal region and make sure that it is free from every form of obstacle. So if you look at me very well now, you look at my hand, you can see that the hand is straight. If I should turn it will be difficult for me to turn the steering properly. So I need to adjust my seat so that there will be an easy movement of my hand. You can see that my hand, you can see the shape of my hand now, that if I want to move now, it will be easy for me to make a good turn without any difficulty. Particularly when you want to operate on 4:3 driving, that is 4:3 handling of the steering. This is 4:3 handling. So if you are doing a 4:3 handling, your hand should be in this form, not in a straight form that you will not be able to maneuver effectively. So I've adjusted my seat. I need to adjust my headrest again, because as it is now, if there is any challenge, that maybe a collision or whatever, if my head will turn this way and I could sustain injury on my neck. The purpose of the headrest is to give your head and the neck a support. So I need to adjust the headrest in a way that it will give a support to my head. You can look at it now. If there's any accident or maybe any situation in emergency that will require a movement of my head, this headrest will give a good support to my head. So my neck will not be injured. And my head also will have a place to rest without causing any problem. Now, looking at the handling of the steering, some drivers are fond of resting their hands on the steering while they are moving. It is not for posing. When you are talking of driving, safety is very paramount. Safety is key. You are driving to be alive. You are driving to save the lives of other people. So it's not a matter of posing. Nobody is out there to give you mark for posing. Some are fond of using only one hand to drive, while using another hand to do other things. Driving is not about posing. That is not what will determine or that will tell others how competent you are. You now use your seatbelt, and you must do it the right way. You can see the way I did it now. So this is how you use your seatbelt. After putting on your seatbelt, you now adjust your mirrors. You adjust the inner mirror so that you can see the traffic from behind. Then you adjust the right hand side mirror. From here, you adjust the right side mirror so that you can see the right side. Not forgetting that you have to turn your head over your shoulder when you want to capture your blind spot. You also set your left mirror to make sure that they are okay. After setting your mirror, you now start the engine of the car. You are not moving yet, but you start the engine of the car. When you start the engine of the car, you watch the signs on the dashboard. The lights, the dashboard symbols will come out. You look at the dashboard symbols. Ordinarily, immediately you start your engine, the dashboard symbols, the light should go off. Anyone that refuses to go off is telling you that there is something you need to attend to in the vehicle. If it is check engine that refuses to go off, there is something you need to do. Maybe you need to go and service your engine, you need to check your engine oil. If the full light, any light that you see that refuses to go off is telling you that you should check that problem and then fix it before you use the vehicle. After doing that, you are now ready to proceed. You can now move your vehicle.
No driver would admit they are bad drivers, but at least stay off the road, learn the rules, and make your future driving better. This is where we end the program this week. You can stay in touch with the program on our social media handle, on Twitter, or send a mail to roadmatters@nta.ng. Until the next episode, I am Fatima Umar. Stay focused and drive to live. Bye-bye.